link too, so that's another access point for people. I'll find it and
Oh, thank you. That would be great. Also in the chat at the very top is the presentation we'll be using during this. It has some tutorials and tools. So you'll see that at the very top of the chat if you just want to open that. And then
people can't see stuff before they log on. So if you can copy and paste it in there, I can't see it. I must not. I shut my computer.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yep. Let me do that one more time. Thank you. That's great. That's a great point.
Yep. I know. I wish it wasn't the case. I wish it just had the string in it. You got to see it when you got on, but.
Right. Okay. So here is the presentation. And then what you could all do right now is open a tab and just go to newsela.com. And we can start getting logged in so that if anybody has any issues, we'll know about it right up front. Make sure you join as an educator with your Google School email. So Newsela is something that has been around for a little bit of time, and we didn't have access to it before, and now we do. Melissa is here representing middle school level. I'm here representing high school, and Tara is here who has been at both the middle and high school level in social studies and has used it. So she's our featured expert teacher. It's really amazing what this offers. It's a very rich tool. And so if you go and log in as an educator using your google.com, what's great is as you go in and set up your profile, you don't have to use the code to give to students and you don't need to add them all. You actually, once you've logged in with Google, you can go in and sync your Google Classroom and it will add the students automatically, which is great. We have different sections available to us. The students in their login will see the news category so that they can search for news articles. They'll see a library with articles in it. But what we have access to is both the ELA for English Language Arts, the science for science teachers, the social studies for social studies teachers. And then in our content, and I'll show you where that is, there's also a social emotional learning collection, which deals with, mindfulness and emotions. And maybe during this time, that might be something we could all use. They must have known that. So that might be another really great way to connect with kids by looking at that collection as well. You can search for articles by topic. And through those collections that I just mentioned. They also have a special distance learning section. They've curated a bunch of different units together and lessons together that you can look at and tailor and edit however you would like. You can search by level, either elementary, middle, or high school, and you can search by grades. You can create both. You can do as little as sending one article out to your class and have them read it, annotate it, highlight it, look at vocabulary words, have it change to the reading level that's appropriate for them. Or you can create a text set, which is building a bunch of groups of articles and having them read through the different sets. So when it says text set, that's a group of articles that you either search for or you tailor to how you would like. And then you can create assignments for the students as well. So I'll show you that. They have activities. Actually, what we can talk about this because you'll see the word Lexile level a lot in this tool, and that's the reading level. So we made a slide here for what those levels connect to. The highest, obviously, 11, 12, and believe me, this is not an end all be all. It's a guide, like so many other things that we have. So that's just the general range of Lexiles and what they can correspond to. But as we know, when we've been doing independent reading searches with students at school, the Lexile will come up in Destiny for them, and when they get the book, it might actually not be the best choice for them. So it is just a tool, it is just a guide, but then the student really needs to decide for themselves if that's a good reading level for them or not. But that's what you'll see when it has about 4 or 5 different choices of Lexile ranges for the students. And that article that's assigned can switch depending on their reading level. So that's why this is so great. It's not just a news database like so many others that we already have through our libraries. It's the differentiation piece that is so great and why we love having this. So we can look at the actual site now. Were people able to join, those of you who haven't used it before, or do you want to wait till later to do that?
And I had put in the chat, feel free to ask questions as we go, whether you put them in the chat itself or just unmute yourself and ask in the moment.
I already created my profile and everything. I joined as an educator. I signed in with Google. And then what you'll get is your little profile. You can put in your subjects you teach, the classroom type that you have in terms of access. And what this also does, this whole program links to standards. So if you're looking by standards or you want to know what it corresponds to, they have all of those listed as well. By putting in your school, you'll be able to see what everybody else at your school has created, which is nice. So over in your content text sets at your school, anybody at my school who's created this already, like Para is here, you will be able to see that, so you can share that information. It's great for me as a library media specialist to be able to see what kids are working on, and if I can suggest anything to them when they come down, and we can collaborate together. So that's text. That's sort of the community that you're developing at your school by putting in this information. And then classes is where you will set up your class. And instead of having to create a class over here, you can sync now, and all of your Google Classrooms will be listed, and you choose the ones that you want. It won't automatically do them until you check those boxes. So every class that you have here, you can check, and then it will add that class with those students who have joined the class automatically, which is great. So over here, I just did one of my clubs as an example, and it listed them all here automatically. I didn't tell them anything. It just joined them right up. Also, the people who have joined at your school for faculty will be listed here as well. So that's the profile area. And then we get into content. Anything you save will appear here, and you can see the different sections at the top. Students have access to this news area and the library, but they don't have access to these areas for ELA science and social studies. That's more for teachers. And so all of these, when you create your assignment or your text sets, you can share them to Classroom without the student having to search themselves. So let's just say I was an English teacher looking for materials on To Kill a Mockingbird. It will search articles here, and then I can limit all of this. I can say I only want it to be ELA, but maybe I don't want to limit that because maybe I want some of the background of race issues that are going on in To Kill a Mockingbird, so I want to keep social studies. Maybe you never know what can come up, so maybe I want to check those too and apply them. I want it to be for high school. I apply that. And I can choose what grade levels it might be appropriate for. and I can pick as many as I want. Maybe I want grade 8 and 9 for that. Then it has more filters. Sometimes it'll have the type of article that comes up. In this case, it only has essays. It has language listed here if I just wanted English. If you do English and Spanish, it lets them click back and forth between both, which is nice. Oh, I have to apply those and then search. So all of these things come up. It will tell you what category it was from at the top. If it's arts and culture, if it was an opinion article in the news, it will be listed here. It's so rich with content. So it's really just a matter of going through and choosing what you like. So when you see an article that you like, this is the difference between just kind of finding a result from a search list like in Google or in some of our databases. It will actually have little activities over here for the kids so that you can go through and do everything you want to this, but then when you click assign is when it will be assigned to the student. And here's where they can change those reading levels, those Lexile levels, according to what might be better. And so now this article, if we just look, it's on Max right now. If we just look down here and see kind of what it looks like at the beginning, if we change it to 540, see how it just changed the reading level automatically. So that's really what's great about this. It also has vocabulary words. You can click and it tells you what it means. It's nice. So I'm in the teacher view right now and I'm looking through this and I'm making sure it looks good. I want this to be for my 9th grade, say. If I had a group of articles, I could add it to a text set I already created. Think of that as sort of the holder for that unit, maybe. I think, Tara, that was how you did it. The text set could be the unit and then the articles, or even an assignment and then the articles you want them to read for that assignment. You decide how you want to create it. And then when I assign it, here's where I can do everything to tailor it. I can keep their assignment title or I can change it. I can adjust the level and lock it to a certain reading level, which I might not want to do here because I want to let the kids decide what that level is and what's appropriate for them as they're reading it. My classes that I automatically loaded will all be here and I can pick which one I want it to go to. And then I can put my instructions here, anything I want at all to create the assignment. Then they'll see the article and then I can save the draft and come back to it and work on it later, or I can just go ahead and assign it to the kids. And then I could share it to Google Classroom, which is probably the best way to do it. It also says down here, if you wanted to toggle back and forth, if you had a co-teacher or somebody else that you were working with, that teacher could see the template and use it. Otherwise, it defaults to off.
Please, I think I've shared the link in Google Classroom, or I've told them you have a Newsela article this week, so make sure you log in and read that too once they get a little more familiar with it.
And we've included this presentation for you in the chat so that if you want to use any of their guides, you could certainly look through it too. We just put in the presentation what I think are the best, easiest, quickest guides, and that will definitely get you started. But they have so much available in terms of searchable, already created lessons. They have a whole distance learning section, which has units already created too. So they really are great about providing as much already created as possible. So you don't have to do a lot of curating sort of for those. You can search things by topic as well, like a theme. They might have a whole little unit by theme for ELA I saw, which was really nice. Let me go back to that. It was just so rich in terms of what was already developed. So I'm in the ELA section right now. They've got daily lessons over here. They've got distance learning units. They have novel studies where you can just search the book. We could really do a whole series on Newsela for each content area. So if you speak to maybe your department or some of your faculty later and you find that you would like that, we can certainly do that for you by either level or by subject area, just because there's so much just in this ELA section alone. Research projects, topics for debate, paired text where they choose a fiction and a nonfiction and put them together. And they've got that at every level, elementary, middle, high school. And then you can go in and tailor the assignment description, change whatever you like. So it really is rich with the what they provide you up front, which is really nice. And again, which separates it from just a searchable database. Really helps teachers.
One of the ways that I can contribute to this conversation, which isn't a lot because I haven't used it a lot, but I know the power of this tool for differentiation. But not this past year because we didn't get to do it before we left, but the year before I worked with the 7th grade language arts teachers. And I don't know, I think Tara, we were doing this together as well when they were doing their argumentative essay. And we used this as one of the tools to find articles on different topics that students had been choosing because it was proving to be a little challenging when we were using the databases to find articles that some of the readers who weren't quite as strong to find articles about their topics that they could access and get information from. So this was a really amazing topic or resource for us to find that when we collaborated between the language arts teacher and the librarian.
I'm looking over just at the, C3 inquiries and all the frameworks here by elementary, by US history. So wow, in terms of standards, it is really great. And I'm assuming you probably had the kids look under the news tab for their research maybe when they were searching issues.
I don't remember exactly how we did it. I feel like we used a couple.
Did we find some?
I think we did find some, and the question before was, can you use a URL to connect to that actual article? And I might be getting it mixed up with the Scholastic news through the database because we use Scholastic news articles as well. But I think that we were able to curate, and I was able to create like a hyperdoc with some resources underneath specific topics. So people knew that there was a multi-level article that they could access on that topic if they needed it.
I'm pretty sure you can just share the URL in the article, but they're always going to have to log in. So if you share the URL, then they'll always be prompted to log in with their school ID too.
Yes.
And this download data, go ahead.
Sorry, Rachel. I would just say their writing prompts are pretty basic. They're usually like, what's the main idea or identify a cause and effect, but it's really easy to change and put in your own prompts. So that's what I normally do is like, instead of going with their default prompt, I'll change it to a more specific or tailored question to what we're working on.
Which is so nice. It lets you save your drafts if you're in the middle of something working on it, and it really lets you tailor it to whatever you like. My content saved. So I worked on this on my own, found it, and then the activities here, it has the power words for students to be able to use the vocabulary piece. It has the writing, and I changed this. It had, like you said, a very basic generic prompt, and I put in something specific of using evidence from the article and your understanding of the novel. Write a paragraph explaining why you think this actor was so strongly affected by his portrayal of Tom Robinson in relation to Kill a Mockingbird. So you can edit this here and change whatever you want. And then here's the little quiz that they have for the students. It'll always ask them 4 questions, and it tests their reading comprehension. And so at the end of that, they can do the little writing prompt and the quiz, and you'll get a sense of if they were able to understand it or not.
One thing I just want to mention, because it confused me a little bit the first time I saw it, is if you go to that activity feed, and if you're not there, don't worry about it. But when you get on, just so you know, you will see all of your students' activity in all of their classes. So it was telling me that like my students were reading these articles independently, and I was sort of confused. Like I was worried that my assignments were getting mixed up. You will actually just see all of their activities. So if their English teacher assigned something, if their history teacher assigned something, you'll see it all. So don't let it kind of throw you off. It took me a minute to figure that out.
Yeah, maybe we don't really. Any questions so far? That is anything confusing, or what else would you like to see a little more of? I think as you just kind of work with it, you'll see it is pretty easy to tailor everything and assign it. And the fact that it syncs up automatically with the classroom is really, really helpful.
If you want me to share my screen with the student view, I can do that because I have it pulled up in a tab.
Yeah, right. They see the news in the library at the top.
Yeah. Yeah. It says your
Sure.
assignments and explore. So
Yeah,
if you
let's take a look at that.
yeah, I'll share. Give me my. So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is logged in as my demo student from Bristow. You'll see they have these two tabs. So if I were assigned to a class, I would see all my assignments there. And then this is where you can look for the news. You can do by topics. You can search in Spanish. So it's similar to what we see, just not as much, and they don't have the content areas on there. So it's kind of cool. And if you build text sets for them and share them, they'll be in there. Right now, I don't have anything because I'm not part of anybody's class right now. Oh, actually, I guess they have regular ones. I guess I thought it was blank. Something was blank when I was looking at it yesterday. Ooh, look at this one, Tara. I love her. So yeah, it's cool on the student end. So I mean, even if you don't use it to teach yet directly with your content, you can share this with students and say, you know, this might be something that might be useful for a variety of things. So pretty cool.
Yeah. I'll just show you. Hold on.
Oh, whatever, Tara. No judging. I even closed some before getting on this meeting, just so you know.
Oh, all your tabs?
Yes.
All right, hold on. That's the way of life right now. I didn't
Oh,
used to be like, but we kind of have to be right now.
mhm.
I just wanted to show you in the tutorials that we included. I sort of took theirs and made a copy and tailored it a little bit for us. So I called it Newsela for WHPS, which is just all the basic directions of everything and how to just set it up from nothing to, you know, all the basics to get started. And you can go to each of these headings directly and it will give you the step-by-step instructions, really nice and easy for creating everything as far as your account and searching, and then what the students need to do to give them the directions. And then it's just so nice and easy that especially that it syncs up with Google. So it tells the students what they can do and gives them some nice little prompts. So that's all in here. And they had so much, and I thought that was the best one for us that just really laid it out very easy to understand. And there's a little video as well. So using Newsela, that's the guide for teachers and students. And then using Newsela specifically and how it works with Classroom is a webinar they recorded that just kind of goes through exactly what we went through together today. And then I put a little one for the kids, which is just how to go in and annotate their article, which once they see on their end the article, there's a little highlight tool next to it and a little annotation box that they can type in little words. And it's just so nice and easy. In addition to those little quizzes, 4-question quiz for the reading comprehension. We were thinking in terms of engaging your students during distance learning. They have, I put what I thought was the best that they offered in terms of the link for ready to go lessons that they already had you could look through, and the distance learning site that had units of study by theme already ready to go, like little 2-week units. So I thought those were the best, but there is a lot more. You can just search any tutorial that you're looking for and it's there. You could also flip the classroom. Maybe instead of assigning this, you could do it with them in the office hours, where you read a very brief article together, show them how to highlight, and then they could take turns sort of commenting and discuss the article. And then I was thinking that social emotional learning connection as well. That whole database had really nice things that maybe they might want to look at that in addition to content, maybe during this time, sort of tying in and connecting with students. And that might be sort of something they could really use right now. And let me just show you the social emotional learning was not across the top like the others. It's actually under your content. So that is right here. As if you don't see it, that's why. So just look under your content and you'll see the social emotional learning connection, which has all kinds of different topics here that you can look under: self-awareness, self-management, mindfulness, things like that. Maybe that might be a good way to start them out.
We don't have any comments in the chat, so there aren't any questions of people right now. But.
Okay. Do you think this looks like something you could start using right away? Is it too involved? How might you be able to use it with your subject area?
Yeah, if you want to unmute yourself, we'd love to hear your voice. Some ideas, brainstorms, thoughts. Oh, that got Kathy to leave.
Hey, Rachel, this is Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
I could definitely see myself using it for the assignment we had talked about briefly.
Great.
I mean, it just seems like something that there's so many different topics, and I know the one that also intrigued me was the social emotional learning stuff, because most of my classes are seniors and they're dealing with, especially this week, they're dealing with a lot more challenges than previously. So
Right.
it'd be worth
Right.
taking a glance through that stuff.
Yeah, maybe like on a Monday, that might be a nice thing to choose an article that you want to, might help you deal with some of what you're going through right now.
Yep. Good thought. Appreciate that. Thanks,
Sure.
guys.
Thanks, Kevin. Anyone else? Thoughts, comments, questions? Well, thank you. I want to thank Tara and Melissa so much for your expertise. It's always good when somebody's used a tool before to be able to tell us what the students see, because you're going through something and testing it out and you realize, I don't know what the students can see. So thank you very much for that. And thank you everyone for taking the time to spend it with us today.
Yeah, and thank you, Rachel. That was awesome. So many resources. You did a lot of preparation, so we all appreciate it.
Absolutely. And this will be up on our WHPS Anytime Learning professional site. Did you say you put that in the chat, Melissa? Or
yes, with the online learning. And to get to it, you just go to the WHPS.org site and go under staff. And they added the direct link right under staff resources now. So it's available there also.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.